Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter. A house catches fire. In the middle of the night, a family scrambles to escape. There is smoke. There is panic. There is chaos. By the time the sun comes up, a family is left grieving and searching for answers. Because even after the fire is out, one question refuses to go away. What happened to a 3-year-old girl who was never accounted for? More than 40 years later, that question remains. And the child at the center of it has never been found. This is the story of Ramona Brown. Ramona Lynn Brown was 3 years old. She lived in the Algiers section of New Orleans, Louisiana, with her parents and her 9 brothers and sisters. According to family members, Ramona was a happy child. In early March of 1984, New Orleans was preparing for Mardi Gras. Like many families across the city, the Browns were looking forward to the celebration. They had no way of knowing that, within hours, their lives would change forever. During the early morning hours of March 6, 1984, while much of the house was still asleep, a fire broke out. Smoke filled the home. The flames spread quickly. Family members rushed to get out. In the confusion, people were trying to find one another, trying to escape, trying to survive. When the fire was finally extinguished, 2 of Ramona's younger brothers, Kevin and Aubrey Jr., were found deceased. It was a devastating loss for the family. But as investigators worked to account for everyone who had been inside, one question popped up. Where was Ramona? At the time, investigators believed they knew what had happened. For years, so did everyone else. But there was a problem. The belief that Ramona had lost her life in the fire was complicated by one fact. Her remains were never found. According to public reports, investigators initially believed they had discovered a 3rd set of remains they thought might belong to Ramona. Later, those remains were determined to be animal bones, not human. Ramona was still unaccounted for. Investigators returned to the scene. They conducted additional searches, but no confirmed trace of Ramona was ever recovered. And that remains true today. Because if Ramona was not found, then what had happened to her? Did she lose her life in the fire? Or was something else overlooked in the chaos of that night? For years, people focused on the fire, on the searches, on the fact that Ramona had never been found. But there was someone who had been there the entire time. Ramona's sister, Ramona Brown. Ramona was 6 years old when the fire broke out, old enough to remember. As the years passed, she continued sharing what she said happened that night. According to Ramona made it out of the house, alive. It was an account that raised new questions about what had happened that night. But Simona continued sharing her account for decades. In 2018, at 42 years old, she approached police on her own and shared her memory of that night once again. As Simona later explained, "My brother Kevin encouraged me to reopen the case because he thought about Ramona all the time." According to Simona's account, the two sisters were outside after escaping the fire. In the confusion, Simona said she saw something she never forgot. Simona says a car pulled up. She described it as an older Cadillac, one with large tail fins. Simona said an older black man was driving, and an older white woman was sitting in the passenger seat. According to Simona, the couple offered help. She said Ramona got into the vehicle. The car pulled away, and Simona never saw her sister again. Years later, another question emerged. It involved a series of phone calls. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Ramona's grandmother received what the family described as strange phone calls over the years. No one spoke on the other end of the line. The calls offered no answers, no explanation, and no way to know who was calling. Family members wondered if Ramona could have been on the other end of those calls. But no evidence has ever surfaced to support that theory. 40 years later, the calls remain another unanswered question in a case filled with them. As time passed, one fact never changed. Ramona was never found. No discovery ever explained what happened after the fire. In recent years, investigators took another look at the case, including the account Simona had shared. The investigation was being re-examined in hopes of providing Ramona's family with answers. Among those re-examining the case was Detective Lamar Lewis of the New Orleans Police Department. After reviewing the case, Lewis said he does not believe Ramona lost her life in the fire. He also said there is a good possibility that the 3-year-old was taken. But even that does not answer the question that has remained since the night of the fire. What happened to Ramona Brown? In 2024, 40 years after Ramona disappeared, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children renewed attention to the case. An age-progressed image was released showing what Ramona might look like as an adult. Today, more than 4 decades after she vanished, Ramona would be 45 years old. Did Ramona lose her life in the fire? Or was she taken? And if she did survive, where has she been all these years? Those questions remain unclear. But the case is still open, and the possibility remains that someone, somewhere, knows what happened to Ramona Brown. Our thoughts are with Ramona's family, her loved ones, and everyone who has spent years searching for answers. If you have any information about this case, please contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Contact details are listed in the show notes. Sharing Ramona's story helps make sure that she is not forgotten and that the search for answers continues. For more cases and updates, follow Hunting for Answers. You can also connect with us through our Facebook group and find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And as always, If there's a story you believe deserves attention, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.